The book Let the Children March by Monica Clark Robinson and illustrated by Frank Morrison has a wonderful children's history of the civil rights movement in the year 1963, and it's included in the end pages of the book. So there it is at the beginning, and there it is at the end. I did not read this when I read the book in my previous video, so I wanted to include an extra video talking about the civil rights movement in the year 1963. So let's learn. Civil rights and the Children's Crusade. The Children's Crusade is the Children's March that we read about in the book. 1963, January 14th. Governor George Wallace, that was the governor of the state of Alabama at that time, makes his inauguration speech. That's a special speech you make when you become governor. Calling for segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. He thought it was a good idea to segregate people, to keep them apart, to separate black people and white people, not let them eat in the same restaurants, not let them drink in the same drinking fountains, not let them play in the same parks, not let them marry each other. Segregate people, keep them apart. On April 3rd, the first organized sit-ins took place at downtown lunch counters. So black people went to white-only restaurants at that time. They went to the lunch counters. They sat down and ordered food because they knew it was their right to do that. It was just illegal at the time. So they chose to break that law because it was an unjust law and it was an unfair law and it needed to change. April 12th, Dr. Martin Luther King and other protesters are arrested after leading a nonviolent protest for demonstrating without a permit. May 2nd, D-Day. That is the very important beginning of some sort of action. D-Day. The Birmingham Children's Crusade begins. By the end of the day, 973 young marchers are jailed. The next day, May 3rd, double D-Day. More protesters are arrested, most of whom are under 18. Commissioner Bull Connor authorizes the use of high-pressure water hoses and police dogs to control the crowds. Close to 1,000 are arrested. At this point, the jails are getting very, very full. May 4th through 9th, 1963. Protesters escalate. That means get bigger in numbers. As more adults join the marches. The jails are at maximum capacity, with thousands of young people imprisoned. The police didn't quite know what to do. All their jails were full, overflowing. This was the strategy of the marchers. They felt that getting arrested was worth it because it demonstrated that so many people believed in getting rid of segregation. May 10th. Dr. King and other protest organizers reach an agreement with city leaders that begins the process of desegregation. The Ku Klux Klan holds a rally. Ku Klux Klan, that's a group of white people who are segregationists and they don't want to see white people and black people together. And the Ku Klux Klan has been around a long time and they have killed people and they have done very violent things to hurt people in order to make segregation real and happen. At this time, they held a rally, and the home of A.D. King, Dr. King's brother, was bombed. May 19th. The school board expels, that means to kick them out, many students who were demonstrating. But a federal judge, that means a judge from the higher courts of the United States, overturned the expulsions. That means he said it's not okay to kick these kids out of school just because they were protesting. That's not okay. June 11th, 1963. President Kennedy, that was the president of the United States in that year, President Kennedy goes on television to speak about civil rights, urging Congress to pass legislation. He saw the Children's Crusade, and he was so impressed by the children that he felt it was important to address the nation on television and try to advocate, which means to talk positively about desegregation or bringing people together and allowing them to live equal lives. July 23rd. Birmingham officially withdraws the segregation ordinances. So those segregation laws officially got taken away on July 23rd, 1963. On August 28th, over 250,000 people, that's 250,000 people, descended on Washington, D.C. during the March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gives his famous I Have a Dream speech. If you've not seen the I Have a Dream speech, I highly encourage you to look on YouTube and find that. It's very, very awesome. September 15th, the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham is bombed by Ku Klux Klan members and segregationists, killing 4 girls and injuring 20 other people. November 22nd, President Kennedy is assassinated. That means murdered, killed, in Dallas, Texas. He was on the side of desegregation, and he got killed. In 1964, on July 2nd, Congress, that's the highest group of lawmakers in our country, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlaws discrimination based on race, the color of your skin, religion, sex, or national origin. So you can't discriminate. That means make people not have equal rights just because of where they're from, what religion they are, what sex they are, or what race they are, or what color they are. You can't do that. That's illegal. October 14th, Martin Luther King Jr. is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. That is the highest honor for peace in the world, and he received that on October 14th. In 1965, on August 6th, the Voting Rights Act ended practices that had barred African Americans from their right to vote. That means before that, black people in this country didn't have equal rights to vote in their elections, to give their opinion on laws or give their opinion on things that Congress tries to make into laws. So the Voting Rights Act ended those practices, allowing black Americans the equal right to vote. Now today, even now, a lot of things are done to keep black Americans from being able to vote, even though it's illegal. So there are still a lot of things happening that are like segregation, and that's the reason that a lot of people are protesting right now in our country. So that's the Children's Crusade from Let the Children March. Thank you, children. You're wonderful. Thanks for your help with all this stuff. And we're here to keep you safe, and we're here to love you.